You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. To some of you new on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you into the Let's Play episode of A Masquerade in the Woods. So yeah, all that further ado, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? We're picking right back up to the shooting range. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Alright. Fire. The recoil kicks in again. The recoil kicks back through my arm and into my shoulder, pushing my back against the hyena's steadying paw. Involuntarily, I let out a quiet yelp as the force moves through my body. Hopefully the ear-shattering explosion was enough to cover it. I feel like I've embarrassed myself enough today as it is. As expected, though, I missed the bottle completely. Again. I adjust my grip, taking aim. Fire! This time I'm more prepared for the kick, and at least managed to stay silent. Frustratingly enough, however, all the bottles still stand intact on the bench. Again! An annoyed sigh escapes my lips as I lift it back up, look down the barrel, and wrap my finger around the metal trigger. I wait for the hyena's command, but instead I feel his paw inch its way out top of my shoulder, gently pressing down on it. Relax, you're way too tense, he whispers in that gruff voice. I can't help it, I answer through the mask, gulping. It's difficult enough focusing under the pressure. I don't need a big guy like him whispering shit like that in my ear at the same time. Breathe. Don't pull the trigger towards you, just tighten your grip, squeezing it. I nod, closing my eyes for a second to refocus. Ready? Yes, sir. Fire. Nice. Maybe, I don't know. Did you miss? Move it! I round the corner of the wooden wall, raising the gun and squeezing the trigger. Shoulders, tiny! My hot breath fogs up the inside of the mask, making my whole face damp with sweat. My legs ache as I once again run towards the makeshift doorway between the planks. Next room, 2 targets. Mason sure was right. Shepard is putting me through the fucking ringer. Turns out heading down to the shooting range doesn't only include firing guns, but physical training, too. Could have warned me, damn it. If I knew I'd be doing an obstacle course for 2 hours straight, I'd have packed a water bottle. After who knows how long we spent just learning to fire a gun in the first place. This is all moving a lot faster than I thought, and it's like a lot more work than I expected when I said yes to this whole thing. If I wanted this kind of training, I'd have joined the army. Through the doorway, raise the gun, line up the sights as best I can with fogged up lenses and shaking forearms. Same thing each run. Scan, enter, assess threats, fire. Over and over and over again. Now, out! Over and over. Each time I enter, it becomes harder to stay fully conscious. Your brain starts running on autopilot, and each time I enter, the crude mental targets begin reassembling his face more and more. That fucking rat. Exit, now! Who cracked my skull and locked me in a basement. And chained me to a rusted pipe. And ripped my claws straight from my fucking paw. But you were just like the rest of them. And like you, each and every one of them will die. With a chain around their necks, choking on their own spit. Left to decay in their own piss and blood. All of them must die. Tiny! I grip my teeth and sprint through the pain towards the opening. And just as I pass it, I feel my legs give out beneath me, and I fall, rolling on my side and ending up on my back in the wet grass. I pant, reaching up to pull the mask off, and lifting my butt up to get my tail out from under me. One thing I'm still struggling to get used to, this bush strapped to my ass. Fuck, this sucks. I hear the click of the stopwatch, followed by Shepard's heavy steps through the vegetation towards me. Alright, y'all, 1 second. Let's do some water. Water time. I hear the click of the... Okay, I already did that. Alright. 2 minutes, 14 seconds. I think that's better than my last run. Do better. Not good enough, though, I suppose. If there's a feeling I hate, it's disappointing someone. This is one of those moments. Get your shit together, Cody. He turns and walks out of view. I sigh, closing my eyes for a second to let the burning feeling in my chest dissipate. From somewhere behind me, I hear Mason's comparatively high-pitched voice. 214 is a hell of a lot better than any of us did on our first attempt. I pushed myself up into a sitting position, turning my head in his direction and feeling the sweat drip from my face, my tongue shamelessly hanging out of my mouth as I heaved for breath. Hearing that at least makes me feel a bit less useless. The possum sits at one of the tables further back, pencil brush in one paw in full focus on his work. The hyena, meanwhile, walks towards him, dropping the stopwatch off on the table and taking a seat next to the painting marsupial. This isn't his first attempt. I bet it's his first fucking day. He puts the brush down, wringing his wrist out. Give the guy a break. He's been at it all fucking morning. There's no way you were better than that your first day. The hyena sighs, adjusting his cap. Perhaps not, but we don't have time for 6 months of boot camp and combat training. What happened in there? I take a moment to search my head, trying to remember why I stopped, but nothing comes. I pick the mask and pistol back up, making sure the safety's on, even if it is completely empty, and stumble my way towards them. My hoodie sticks to my back uncomfortably, and my legs feel literally like jelly. I sit down opposite to both of them, crossing my arms on the table and let my head flop down. God, I'm tired. Maybe if I'm lucky I can squeeze in a nap sometime this afternoon. Unless Shepard or any of the others have other plans for tonight. I'm sorry, sir. Shepard just sighs. Nuh-uh, don't apologize to him. Stop calling him sir. He might be big, but he's no general. If you want to call... Sergeant. Shepard adds as I look back up. Mason rolls his eyes, his muzzle displaying that cocky grin. Sergeant, whatever. If you want to call him sir so badly, ask him to... whatever. Joke's dead now. I put my head back down in an effort to hide the small smile I know is showing. I speak up to stop the possum from finding more things to tease me about, asking the first thing that comes to mind. How far from town are we? You mean the actual town or the old town? What? I raise my head to meet the possum's gaze, but his paw blocks it as he readjusts his hat. If you're worried about the gunshots reaching, I can assure you they sound like a little more than distant pops over there. Hold on, what do you mean old town? Mason looks at me like I'm stupid. Ah, shit, right. I keep forgetting you're not from around here. He straightens himself up in his seat, rolling his neck. Sorry, y'all. The OG blackmail, like the first settlement, was out here in the woods. Lumber community originally. Nothing but old ruins and shit now, though. How come they moved? Work dried up. Transporting lumber on the river became old-fashioned. Shepard adds, picking up the stopwatch and rolling it between his fingers. The city changed direction. People moved out of the dense forest and into the clearing where the highway was eventually built. Is what most people would say. The possum continues, leaning in close on his elbows. Shepard rolls his eyes, grunting. This again? Others talk about strange creatures inhabiting the place, coming out at night to feast on the weak, he says in a hushed, dramatic voice. The lady in the river, the weeper in the well, the one-horned devil. Bullshit, Shepard interjects. Made-up folklore to save Black the embarrassment of ruining his business and running the town to the ground along with it. Aw, come on, who doesn't love a good ghost story? The possum teases, a sticker in his voice. I'd offer to show you the ruins, but that shit's not much to see nowadays. Just use needles in a place for kids to get wasted. Look at y'all, water time. Remember, kids, don't get wasted. I guess. Shepard seems uninterested in the conversation, pulling the note from last night out from his bag. The cipher. He furrows his brows on the piece of paper in his paws, scanning the letters one by one with his piercing gaze. Any progress on solving it? After a short pause, the hyena shakes his head, his eyes not leaving the note. It's not a Caesar cipher. I already tried that. Mason yawns, resting his chin on one paw, elbow on the table. Meaning? Meaning the letters aren't simply shifted by a certain number forwards or backwards, A becoming C, D becoming F, and so on. That's clearly not numerical in nature. The combination doesn't match any coordinates of interest. It's too long to be a code of some sort. He lifts a paw, pinching the bridge of his snout and gritting his teeth. Fuck. Do you think Ludwig would have been able to solve it? He looks up, raising a brow at me. There's no doubt in my mind he'll be able to solve it. His eyes drift back down to the note. Yet another reason for you to keep practicing. What? But I thought... I'm interrupted as Mason's sneaker connects with my shin, but as I turn to him, he casually looks down at the mask in front of him as if nothing had happened. While I'm still confused, I know when to take a hint. But you thought what? Shepard questions, raising an eyebrow at me. I thought he didn't go missing all that long ago. His eyes scanned me as I slowly shrink in my seat. We still have a good chance of finding him, I mean. As his eyes depart me and trail back to the cipher, Mason gives me a look I can't quite place. At the same time, I get the feeling I can guess what he means. Shepard puts the note back down and stands up. Enough rest. Let's get back to it. Ink, show him how to breach. Mason and I both stand up too. Sure thing, boss. The possum grabs my arm and pulls me back towards the wooden structures, swiping River's mask off the table as he does. As soon as we pass the first opening, he quickly pulls me to the side. That was close. He doesn't think he's... No, and if you ask me, it's better that way. He lifts his paw to gesticulate, his voice barely a whisper. Seems to be the only thing keeping him going. That can't be healthy. But are you sure he's, gone? He lets out a long sigh, his arms falling to his sides. He's been missing for 2 months now, Stripetail. The chance of him still being out there is smaller than my dick after a winter dip in the river. Ignoring the strange comparison, 2 months is a long time for someone to be missing. The possum shakes his head, lifting the mask back up. Come on, I'll show you how me and Lou do our breaching. The car slowly comes to a stop at the side of the road, just outside an alley. Above the cellar entrance hangs a wooden sign depicting a stag made of brass, although one of its legs seems to have fallen off. Are you sure this is a good idea? I mean, what if there are cops around? Mason scoffs, meeting my eyes in the rearview mirror. Trust me, cops don't come here. They've got no reason to. No one here to bribe them. Despite the possum's reassurance, I turned my head to scan the street we're parked on. This part of town looks pretty empty, but it's not difficult to see why. The tall houses are run down, and some of them look abandoned from the outside. Taking y'all, water time. Despite that, there's still a couple people walking around. A black cat, something else near my building, and a tall kangaroo, I think? Man, I'm not sure I'll ever get used to this. Alright, let's go. Shepard reaches over his large frame and unbuckles his belt, but the marsupial next to him doesn't. You're not coming? I ask as I mimic the hyena's action. Me? Nah, I'm heading back home to home base to take a look at the collar we took yesterday. But don't worry, Stripetail. I'm sure you won't have to miss me for too long. He turns his head and winks, flashing his fangs. I chuckle. I'll try not to be too devastated. As we exit the car and step out onto the street, I pull the hood up over my head. Just in case. Shepard walks ahead into the alley and down the steps, pushing the door open. The familiar door cling rings out, and Shepard gesturing for me to walk inside as he holds the door open. I slip under his big arm and pull my hood down. Ugh. Sorry, y'all. The entrance leads into a dim hallway with carpeted floor. Shepard walks ahead, adjusting the strap of the bag hanging at his side. You go ahead. Find a table. I'm gonna take a piss, he says as he walks past, pushing the bathroom door open. Oh, okay, I answer, despite him having disappeared behind the door already. I guess I should do as he says. I walk down the short hall and round the corner where the hallway opens up. It looks closed. I mean, the place is empty. As I enter the place proper, it becomes quite obvious it's a bar or a restaurant of some sort. Booths, tables, a long bar desk, and dark wood along one of the walls with hundreds of bottles lining it. The air inside is musty and a bit chilly, a couple degrees colder than outside. The late afternoon sun barely penetrates the windows lining the outside wall, creating a dim but pretty cozy environment. At least if someone cleaned the place up a bit. It reminds me of the bar I used to work in. That place wasn't exactly the finest establishment in town either, but at least we had lunch traffic. Though, what makes this place different from my old job more than anything is the boxing ring further into the dining room, and as I spot it, I stop. What the hell? A table surround it, so it's clearly there for a reason. Alright, guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks, or if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!